generation industry. Jeff joins us from the Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. I'm in the Seattle, Washington area, and welcome everybody. This is going to be a fascinating webinar, I hope, for you, where we're going to talk about the intersect of power and water. And two of the most critical elements today, for emergencies and disaster response, but as well for everyday use, and especially in off-grid and isolated environments, and in locations, for example, requiring medical care and treatment in remote locations. So I'm going to give you a quick intro showing you a little bit of the solar equipment that we've been working with Altitude since the beginning of the year. And then Jeff is going to take over, and he's going to run us through. We're going to watch a short video. We're going to see a little bit about this amazing solar powered trailer that produces hundreds of gallons potentially a day, the ultimate disaster response portable trailer. And then Jeff's going to talk a little bit about the technology. Fascinating. I've learned so much this year about not only the ability to create water from air, but the purification process of it, so that it is always pristine and healthy, which is absolutely critical, of course. You can't have water if it's not perfectly pure. So first of all, then I will just show you guys a couple of slides. And I'm going to go into, whoops, there we go. So New Use Energy is all about serving power. We are in the we aim to relegate gas generators, not make them go away, but to relegate them to a secondary role. And we'll explain during the course of today's process the realities of solar regeneration, its benefits and powers. But when you're doing water generation, we are going in very much in a hybrid approach with the largest of the systems. The smaller the system, the easier, of course, it will be to solar power. New Use Energy is a first mover in making professional grade solar plus battery generators. We call it solar plus battery because solar is only one means of recharging. We do build very fast regeneration capabilities from AC power as well. And we're working to make them the new portable power standard. And I'd like to highlight we are a 2024 Department of Homeland Security Award winner in their Clean Power of Hours competition. So with further announcements on that coming up. We to address our customers' needs, especially after emergencies, we design and manufacture various types of solar plus battery generators. We realized also that we have to have a professional grade of solar arrays, so we do manufacture those. And then we also have a full line of mission design batteries, which were used, for example, in the disaster response trailer that Jeff is going to show you. The first product that we worked with Altitude is our newest, our 3651. Now, that is a highly portable 1 or 2 person lift, something you can fit in the trunk of a car or easily in the back of a pickup truck. It's got a 3,600 watt inverter and over 5,000 watt hours of battery capacity. And very important, it has a very fast recharger. These are just some photos. That's the amazing T12. And we ran that unit for 10 hours in Washington State with no recharging. So it's flat out of the battery. And, with recharging, I want to highlight that it can go 24/7, but it depends on what time of the year, because when there is no sun, it'll go 10 hours. And so if the period of darkness is more than that, it will be completely depleted. Now, that's also in a northern cooler climate. And, we'll talk a little bit more in depth, but just so you know, there's variability in the consumption of the power of the T12. And I've seen it as low as 450 watts per hour, and as high, the higher the temperatures are outside or the lower the humidity, it can work a little harder, up to 700, even a little bit over 700 watts per hour. So that may affect the actual time the unit's running. So Altitude built a temporary backplane for the SunTarp 420-watt panel so that it maximum harvest, but that panel is removable. And inside though, you can see the T12 and the 3651 working. So that's just an example. And I just going to talk a little bit more about his products, but I absolutely adore our T12, and we will be we having paired up, and New Use Energy is marketing the product in its home base customers and market. The SunKit 5050 is our first customer installation with the T12, and I want to highlight that we used it with an additional 5 kilowatt extension battery and 3 kilowatts of solar that's being attached to it. So with 10 kilowatt hours, the unit gets close to 20 hours of operation. So anywhere from 17 to 20, depending on the environmental conditions. And so with 3 kilowatts of solar, it has the ability to bring the unit back up in full to its battery capacity during the day after draining at night. So that is more of a fixture, let's say a more permanent fixture in this customer's location. And it is running a T12. And finally, I just want to, well, if it worked. Anyway, I was going to show you one of our trailers with 10 kilowatts of solar, but which was the inspiration for the altitude disaster response trailer, but I'll let Jeff take over and he'll show you a lot. And I think we've got first a video we want to show you. So if our organizers will get that running, you guys will see an amazing example of this.
It is going to, it's covered because this is made for Hippocrates, and I don't want to scratch it up for the shot, but it looks beautiful. Showing it running again on the trailer. Again, 77 degrees, 53% relative humidity out here, a little different from inside the trailer there. But here's the beauty. We drink this pure water out of wine glasses, but if you look, it almost looks carbonated. Look at that, all of those bubbles. What are those bubbles, you say? That is oxygen. You cannot get any more oxygen in this water. So we make not only the purest water, we have it mineralized, but because of our patented ozone purification systems, look at that. So we have poured it into a beautiful wine glasses, which what we hand out here. Again, don't put this in plastic. This water is incredible. You drink it from a glass. That's what this is all about. So as I said, we have a computer. It's awesome right now. 71 degrees Fahrenheit, 71% relative humidity. Right now, it's telling you what it's doing. It's idle. Okay, so you don't hear anything. So Eric has just given us the power that we need. When this thing's running, we're running at what, about 4,700 watts, about 4.7 kilowatts. That's with everything running, lights and everything like that. Max is taking off. But it's something as simple as, okay, we have off, we have run, we have economy, so we could set the humidity levels that it'll run at. We have drain and we have purge. All of those are for the filters. If you want to drain it or purge the filters, you have new filters on there. So what we're just going to do is we're just going to turn this baby on, run, and let me just show you a couple other features which are awesome. Number one, this is the unit.
So you guys, that's just a preview. Jeff's going to show you some slides and talk a little bit more. But Jeff, please tell us your vision behind founding Altitude Water and a bit about the technology itself.
Paul, thank you very much for inviting us onto your webinar, and thank you. Think about January 31st. I think we announced our partnership, and you know, would like to thank footprintproject.org, the charity that you know, really integrated us together after working in Maui with them for the wildfires, and just so excited, and your team's commitment to helping people. I think we've come so far and so quickly because we both have a heart to help people, and seeing what you guys have done in the Ukraine, and seeing a video of a C-section and the doctor saying this C-section couldn't have been done without your product being there, that's just incredible. So we were talking yesterday and talking about a show, Ulysses S. Grant, because when you have this disrupting technology, right, we need to help each other and to pull each other up because we go into battles together. So I'm just real pleased in the short time since January 31st, how much we've achieved together. But let me talk about a little bit about my product and how we make water and the importance of the energy water nexus that is so important. So my father and I founded our atmospheric water generator companies over 15 years ago. We both believed that after selling our other businesses that water was going to be the next oil. We listened to the UN that said if wars are going to be fought, they're going to be fought over water. And really over the past 15 years, we've seen this play out. And so the beauty of our technology is that we tap into the natural water cycle, right? That the earth has the same amount of water on it as when it was formed and when it was created. So right now, water is in either one of three forms. It's either in a liquid form, a gas form, or a solid form. Solid form, of course, is ice. The glaciers, or it's in a liquid form in our aquifers and our groundwater, or it's in a gas form, which is humidity. And interestingly enough, humidity is a greenhouse gas, so creates and enhances global warming. So we tap into that and basically harvest the water that's in the air. The U.S. Geological Society says there's 3.8 quadrillion gallons of water in our atmosphere. I like to say it's the only number that I know that's larger than our national debt going on Times Square. So what we're doing is trying to capture that water. And the beautiful thing about capturing that water, what we like to say at Altitude Water, is what all those filters are trying to take out of the water, out of the groundwater, is never in our water. So that process of evaporation, and people say, well, how's that true? Well, 90% of our evaporation comes from what? The oceans, right? When was the last time we had a salt rainstorm? Never, because all the salt is left behind as the water goes up into the sky. Now, in the same token, when water goes from a gas form to a liquid form, it's pure. No impurities will ever go in it. Think about how you distill water, right? You boil it, you bring it up to steam, you capture the steam, you bring it back down to a liquid form. So we at Altitude have machines operating in over 62 countries that we've manufactured over the 15 years. We like to say that the sun's never sets on a machine that we've manufactured. And we make the highest quality machines. We're a made in the USA product. As you said, we're here in Fort Lauderdale. But we don't only assemble here, but we're actually a made in the USA product where over 80% of our parts are US made. So those are the exciting things, and that's a little bit of our background. As you guys showed on the video, I think one of the other things besides our quality and building at home is our ozone purification. And there's so many exciting things that you and I have been talking about that we can work with this ozone purification. But in regards to atmospheric water generation, when we're generating the water, yes, we're starting with pure water, but anytime you want to store water, you're going to end up having bacteria and other things wanting to grow in it. That's just the nature of water, correct? You think about your condensation tube on your air conditioning and it starts dripping through your ceiling. Well, that's because bacteria is growing and blocking your condensation line. That doesn't happen in our machines because we put ozone in the water. Our patent and our EnviroGuard system not only keeps the water pure, but it actually keeps the machines pure, all the tubing, because the water is the purification method. And one of the new exciting products that we've come out with this year is the PSS 10565A purification system designed by one of our purification specialists, which is will run great on your 3651, uses less electricity because we're not generating water or harvesting water. It's just the purification. So we're looking forward to working with Gem and a couple of other disaster relief organizations and get those over to the Ukraine as well, because they need to purify their water after their dams and their infrastructure has been totally decimated in the war. So we're taking that, and that can run on DC, that can run directly, so we have no power loss with an inverter. And so those are some of the things that we are working on. But I think a little bit of showing the history. So as I said, footprintproject.org, we work with extensively in Maui in the wildfires, and I have a couple of slides basically showing a little bit of the difference. So this, if you look on the left, this is number one, Noah's Ark did a great job. Within 3 days of the wildfires, they raised the money so we could build a disaster relief trailer for Maui, which is now running at Project Vision Hawaii, a homeless shelter that is there to help the people who have lost all their homes. There's 7,500 people who've lost their homes in Maui in the wildfires. There was actually, everyone knows Lahaina, but there was actually 3 areas of wildfires. This right here you see at Kula Elementary, which is Kula is one of the areas that had a wildfire. We actually provided the school water for a long period of time before it was moved to the Project Vision homeless site. And from there, now if you see our storage tank, you see right there is the PSS 10565A purification. You see the T12. The green is our T200. It's a larger size than the T100 that's in our solar trailer with New Use Energy. And then if you see that big white, that's the generator. Now we have no solar on this trailer. Again, when you're rushing in a situation, especially in Maui, where it's shipping and getting parts and things into the island proved to be hugely difficult. But we needed water, and we needed it quickly. So Noah's Ark, as I said, raised the funds and really operating the trailer, and Cecilia Road and Joakim Noah, just incredible work, and the whole Noah family, Yannick and Yelena as well. But we learned a lot of things from this as well, that now that we had the time and we had the relationship with footprintproject.org, and they were able to test our machines on some of their solar trailers, and then got introduced to you guys, and we started really putting our minds together. And the one on the right is what you see there. So it's similar. It's a T100 instead of a T200, which is half the electrical draw and half the water production. But we also have 2 T12s as we do on the Maui Noah's Ark. But you see these wings, and you see this tent, and you start seeing that, as you said, Paul, so important is you're not ever replacing. You need the stability. You burn the fossil fuel, how much energy you're going to have. And again, you go into a disaster relief situation and it's cloudy for 4 days. And if you only have solar, it doesn't matter how nice my machine looks. If I don't have the electricity to harvest the water, it's not going to make water, right? So we do have a much smaller solar generator. If you could go on to the next slide. This is the battery storage. So we have 60 kW of storage through the New Use Energy. You see one battery bank right there. There's another one on the other side. The solar, and maybe Paul, maybe you can go into a little bit on the Solark and the Midnight and
Sure. So
some of
use,
the you know it better than I do. I'm
just
learning
very
Tutelage.
quickly. We used a 12 kilowatt solar system, mainly because it had really good integration with the AutoStart generator. 60 kilowatt hours, so 12 5 kilowatt hour batteries. And we do augment an additional charge controller, even 2, so that we can add additional solar capacity. So we put a bit over 2 kilowatts on this 6 by 12 or 7x12 frame of this trailer. Honestly, we all talked afterwards and said we'd used a longer chassis so we could put more inherent PV on the trailer. And we did have some, I think Jeff will show you some incredible photos of the piston operated wings that we put on there. So we focus on not using glass panels, but using lighter weight panels. We also, though, will be storing up to 5 kilowatts of panels inside the trailer for external ground mounting. Those will be glass panels, and they can be also stored in the tow vehicle. And so ultimately, we'll be putting over 7-8 kilowatts of solar onto this vehicle. But very important is a 10 kilowatt generator, so that and I want to emphasize that when we set out to do this, we're trying to maximize the solar recharging, but we have to keep uptime because mission first. And relegating the generator to a secondary role, working with an inverter bank is just a great inverter rather, and battery bank is a great option. In a lot of our tests, you can reduce fuel usage by 80%. Just by using the method. So you quick charge while you're running the load, batteries are topped up, you run the batteries, you get your additional PV contribution, but the generator's off. And one of the things Jeff was looking at was going, like, I don't want to be refilling this gas tank all the time. I don't want to carry all this fuel. And that was one of our driving things behind the design.
Yeah, it's incredible. So as we're driving to the potential disaster, we can be running because the wings won't be up. Okay, so the only place that we're going to be getting the sunlight is on the roof. So the wings will be down as we're driving, but we could be charging the batteries as we're going. So the integration, and then the other thing, which is Paul and his team has experience in the telecommunications and the communications. And one of the things that we saw in Maui was when this disaster hit, all the towers were down. Everything was fried and burned. Okay, so integration of being able to have the first responders be able to talk to each other. They couldn't, and there was no electricity because they had to shut down the whole grid. So they couldn't even charge their radios or anything like that. So one of the things that we added here and put to have a state of the art and really have, there's nothing like this in the world, okay, that this thing handles everything. But people now can choose and say, I want this, I want that, in regards to what your price range is for. But we wanted to showcase all the technologies that we had, and go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I just want to add, so on the comm side, we set up a Starlink link as well as a cellular backhaul, so we use redundancy. And then we put a very powerful antenna on here. So we're able to transmit community Wi-Fi with a lot of security and over 100 users to actually about a half-mile area. We did walk it out. And so this is all about providing water. It's about providing power. There's external power outlets on the trailer, and then also providing connectivity. So that other than food, which we're not going to grow or store in here, we're covering 3 of the critical needs of survivors.
You weren't here, but your worker Carlos. I was like, Carlos, are you still transmitting? Half a mile down the road, we couldn't believe it. It was really awesome. I have to say, Eric and Carlos, the guys you sent, were just absolutely fabulous. It's nice to have a partnership where you can really get along and work together to a common need to help others, and all of their hearts were in that place. So yeah, so the beautiful thing about this trailer, okay, so a disaster strikes, no electricity, no cell phone towers. So you even go into the cell phone, we have three different carriers where you can go, get cellular. So you can go charge your phone on this trailer, call your mom and say, Mom, I'm okay. The disaster happened, and I'm going to hang up from you because I lost Billy. I don't know where Billy is. You can hang up, go on Wi-Fi, go on Facebook, mark yourself safe, and say, Billy, I'm at the disaster relief trailer at this location. Come see me here. As you're doing that, there's a wonderful solar tent that's adding about 1.2 kilowatts, Paul? What's the
one
about
but,
1
yeah.
kilowatt of solar. to the battery storage and to the running of our machines. But you can, have shade as you're getting the purest water, purest mineralized, oxygenated water from our T12s, but be underneath the solar 10 as well. Go ahead, Paul.
Jeff, I just want to be cognizant of time. If we could maybe, we got some great questions coming in, but if you could maybe get through the next couple of slides, because people seeing the photos is giving us a lot of
Sure.
great
So
questions.
again, this is the comparison case study, the difference between the Noah's Ark and the transition. We didn't have time. We had to get water to people. With this, we had some time to really integrate 15 years of disaster relief and what Paul has done and integrate it into the trailer. I think Footprint says it best. The disaster relief like that, it's like triage. You put red wristband, it's got to get into surgery quickly. Yellow, green, you judge how quickly you have to work. We had green to build the Mind Army, and by the way, I want to call it the Mind Army. Mind Army is the charity that funded this whole project. So thank you, Zappy. And so here you go is the T100 and also the PS 10565A. That can do 750 gallons of outside purification. So we can go to a river, a lake, wherever, and purify it using our ozone purification. Paul, we sent you a really cool video of that happening, and we'll be putting that up as well. But I think that gives you, there's the tent. Also as well, we talked about some ground mounts. So when we get there, those were donated by footprintproject.org as well to this project. So just the coordination and working together, I think is just unbelievable when people come together. The difference in the size of the generator, as we were talking about, you see the one on the left, the white, the Noah's Ark, that's the large generator that it's only running on diesel generator. You look at the Honda generator, the 10 kW, that's on the Mind Army solar trailer. Much smaller, much less need for the diesel, which again, in a disaster situation, diesel is paramount. So I think that's helpful, and thank you for the time. And yeah,
Well, let's
get
go into some of the questions, Jeff.
sure.
I do want to highlight some things as well. Aside from disaster response, we are at New Use Energy. We work in various market segments, some being telecoms and disaster relief and the film and television industry. And we're looking forward towards reducing the use of plastic bottles as well on film sets and the like. And so we think this is just a great option or a great solution for sustainability professionals. And we work with a lot of them in the film industry. Jeff, quick question. How many decibels does the T12 and then the T100 emit? But starting with the T12.
Yeah, so the T12 is about 52 decibels, between 50 and 55 decibels. Again, I give a range because,
Yep,
depends
sure.
on where it is, right? And the decibel level, I don't have the exact number, but it's similar to your 5 ton AC unit. So Jamie, do you have a decibel level on the T100? It's around 60, 65, 60 decibels on the T100.
And
Jamie's been with
I'd
me
like
for
to
15 years.
emphasize for the listeners that both Altitude Water and New Use Energy work with militaries. It is a kind of a testament to all of our engineering, and it's a great question about decibels because in Ukraine, we've been replacing gas generators in frontline areas because drones, they not only see heat from generators that now the protocols are to bury them 5 feet underground if you have a gas generator, but they also can hear them. And so that's a really good question. And we do see we will be working together with Altitude to address military needs as well. Jeff, did explain to me he's built an amazing version of the T100 called the T200 that has been deployed on Okinawa. Is that correct, Jeff? Okinawa?
It's actually on Oahu.
Oahu,
It's
sorry.
on
Sorry,
Oahu.
it's on
It
Oahu.
went through 5 different steps from Michigan to Indiana to California, all different testing, and there were 5 other AWG companies, and we were the last one standing in Oahu. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really a testament to Altitude's engineering. Jeff, I love this question. How does the unit insert the minerals to alter the pH of the water? Is it something that the user has to refill, or is it like the ozone kit that is just on board? I think maybe this warrants your going into ozonization a little bit more.
Sure. So that's a great question. So we do the mineralization through filters, as I just said before, with all the filters are taking out, it's never in our water. So we have a filter that's actually taking calcium and magnesium and putting it into the water. So you have 2 ways of raising pH in water. You can either do ionization, which is moving the electrons around to raise the pH, like a Kagan or something like that does, or mineralization. And again, we like to say that our technology is licensed from Mother Nature. We like to do things the way nature does. So we do it through mineralization. It's basically 7,500 gallons going through. So we say about 750 gallons. So every 6 months, you would need to change a filter. As Paul will attest, it's very easy. You press this door, it pops open, and you just turn the filter, take it off, put the other one on. It will not leak the minute that the seal is broken. When you loosen it, the water won't come out, and it won't flow until it's tight enough that the water will go into the filter. And then you take 2 gallons out to purge it, because you'll have some dust. It'll look cloudy from the minerals. In regards to the ozonization, that is every 20 minutes, we have a corona discharge ozone generator. We have ozone generators that have been lasting 15 years in our machines. It is just a very simple process that you don't have to do anything but just taste the awesome water and look at the oxygen bubbles at that go in your glass within 3 minutes of you pouring the water out. It's a very simple process that you don't have to do anything. Altitude's already taking care of that. So filter changes twice a year. Your cost is about $100 a year on the water filters, and about $30 a year on the air filters, because we are also purifying your air with a MERV 13 air filter that is, as the air goes across the filter, is purifying your air.
Awesome. So I think you've answered the question. You do add minerals into the distilled water.
That is correct. We had in our pH. We just got testing back from Colombia. Again, the mayor of a town where we're working with, a nonprofit down there in the school, and the mayor wants to. So they did all the water testing. It came back 8.1 on the pH. Perfect amount of calcium, perfect amount of magnesium, and absolutely 0 bacteria in the water. He couldn't have had a more perfect test, and it's a test we never even touched anything. It's in Colombia. They did it all themselves. We shipped the machine down, and they took the water sample with the chain of custody.
Super. So the next question from one of the attendees. I'll answer question 2 first, but we're going to talk about. Well, actually, you go first, Jeff. Do you find making water at night more efficient than daytime?
Without question. Yeah, the change of time. I mean, think about it. Dew in the morning, right? Yeah, there's dew on the grass in the morning. There's the reason, because of all that humidity. So yes, there is absolutely that change of temperature creates that perfect atmosphere for making water or harvesting water. So that's a great question, and it shows the knowledge of the water cycle.
And when it comes to battery storage, the second part of that, look, I've been in off-grid solars for 16 years, and you can never have enough battery capacity. In my view, obviously there's a cost factor, but that's really been declining in recent years, making it much easier to have more storage. And but going into the evening with your batteries fully charged is a key goal. So that really is how you want to manage your usage. And depending on what's going on with your system, you might want to dial back a little bit to make sure you have that full load on the batteries going into the evening, or run that generator a little bit to juice it up in the early on dusk. So that's again, anything else,
It,
Jeff?
it's really been where the advancement has been in your industry, right? I mean, the Tesla's not about the cars, it's a cool way for him to, but it's all about the battery storage and developing this battery technology, which is what I wrote a blog about it, and also wrote for Energies. That's what's really helped us in our industry, because it gives us the ability, and finding out, like, Hawaii is like 92% of PV is attached to battery storage. The next largest state is California at 17%. So, it's really going in that way. And people, again, it's not like fossil fuels. You have to learn and monitor, because you're with the sun. So I didn't mean to but it's so
No,
important.
that's okay. I mean, I want to emphasize a point about being prepared. We do work with, so when Jeff shows like the urgency they had to go out to Hawaii, the fact is, we are looking for NGO partners who are willing to pre-position. We have Footprint Project as an amazing, clean energy for disaster relief NGO that will manage and deploy. That's their focus. They're not extremely knowledgeable, but you need to have stuff ready in advance. There's a lot in here about preparation. So next question from Crosby. Does altitude have the possibility to purify water from extra sources or inputs, no atmospheric? So I think you maybe talk about the PSS real quick.
Yeah, we
And
do.
can you work in polluted or smoky environments?
Yes, we do. And again, the key is going to be knowing what's in the water that we're purifying. So we over 15 years of working with ozone purification, we've gotten really good at it. But the amount of ozone, we have to use very little ozone to keep pure water pure. Now, when you start dealing with contaminated water, so the biggest growth in the ozone industry, just to let you know, with pools and spas. Okay, so Europe is so well versed in ozone and uses it in its municipal systems. The United States isn't. As a matter of fact, when the United States had the Atlanta Olympics, the European swimmers wouldn't swim in our pools with chlorine. They made them change it over to ozone. So, what I like to say is, in the hot tub industry, if you can have sweaty bodies going into 120-degree water and ozone's going to keep it pure, you can absolutely gauge the amount of ozone necessary. So what makes ozone such a powerful water purifier is it's O3. Okay, oxygen's O2. The third oxygen molecule is what's known as a radical in ozone, and it detaches and oxidizes, basically puts a hole in any bacteria or virus that's in the water. And so that's why you're left with oxygen, and why we have such bubbles, and you can't get any more oxygen in our water, which your cell, it's going to go across your cell membrane. You're going to hydrate better with our water. But so yes, the short answer to your question, after I went long, is yes, we can purify. We just need to know what's in there so we can know what cycles. All of our purification systems are run on a computer that we can change the cycles, inject more ozone. We have a very large ozone generator on it. So it's a matter of just knowing how much ozone we need to purify the water that's at hand. So we would need to know what's in the water, but we can purify it without question.
And I just want to emphasize the system that Jeff is talking about is, Jeff, how many gallons per hour can it purify?
750.
Yeah, so that is an industrial scale. Mark Dodge, you asked about using really, methanol, or let's call it an SFC, generator. So the answer is we're always exploring that as an option. It's always a cost factor for us and a little bit of space because we have to store the tanks and the like. In this particular trailer that we built, we decided to go with a standard standard gas because it is a disaster response and it is very easy to at least keep that tank topped up because it's not being used all the time, and we're really trying to integrate a cleaner solution, but it is a substantial cost factor still right now, but we do hope to we kind of need the NGOs at times who are great incubators. I have to say, one of the amazing things, I've worked private sector my whole career, and in the last 3 years, I've worked with so many different NGOs that have helped incubate products that then became real world solutions. And I'm hoping we'll get to this, methane oriented reformers going forward for power. Jeff Peters.
Just one thing, you have to
Right.
look at accessibility during a disaster, and diesel is accessible. It needs for, so if you have a generator that's on something that you can't get, the generator's worthless. So
Jeff Peters, I think I noticed you're still on. Jeff, by the way, works a lot of disaster response in Sonoma and has several of New Use Energy's really powerful mobile solar generator networks. And he asked about the price point of the trailer. And Jeff, since we know each other, we'll get back to you because obviously it depends on what we put in there. There is some variability, and we will publish some guidelines on this. Jeff Szur is taking the current trailer on a road show in May, and all from Miami all the way up to New Jersey, stopping in tens of cities. So we're getting still some additional market feedback to get the final configurations set. But I'll engage the three of us together, Jeff, on that. And anybody else that's interested, please let us know. And you can always either contact Altitude or contact New Use Energy on our websites. Another anonymous, is there a place to see this in Maui? So, or in our Anacortes lab? Clearly, somebody who knows us. Thank you very much. In Maui, I think I'll let Jeff speak to that, but in Fort Lauderdale for sure. And like I said, Jeff is taking this on the road. We do have a T12 in Anacortes working. We're regularly testing it pretty much weekly on discharging it and recharging it from the 3651 and SunKit. So the T12, yes, in Anacortes. I'll let Jeff talk to. Jeff would love to show anybody on the East Coast, I'm sure.
absolutely, it's located at the Pukahananani site of Project Vision Hawaii, which is basically directly across from the airport. If you come out the airport in Maui, and Route 36 is right there. You go right across there, and it's there. But the interesting thing is it's not only providing the water for the 150 homeless in that location, but they also create jobs where they put it into 50-gallon tanks, and there's 2 other homeless shelters that the water is trucked to. So from that one site, we're doing 3 sites. And then there's another trailer that our T12s are on. It's a 100% solar trailer that was designed and manufactured by Maui Church of Christ, Pastor Corey and his team, who we work with, who was just incredible in putting up solar panels. And we work with building solar panels during the disaster relief aspect. So that is also
So I would just, sorry, Jeff, we'll contact Jeff.
Yeah.
We got so many questions coming in. I want to get to
Sure.
before the end of the hour. And there's one, let's go this one first. Jeff, so how does the yield vary? And this is a big question for a lot of us in low humidity areas such as the Southwest.
Sure. So this is an exact science, pretty much. Okay, we know based upon temperature and humidity how much water is in the air. So we have charts on all of our owner's manuals and things of that nature. But if you basically, for every 10% relative humidity that you decrease water production by about 15 to 18%. So again, I always equate it to like just because you go out and buy a Mr. Coffee maker doesn't mean that you can go make home and make coffee. You have to have coffee to put into it. We need water in the atmosphere. So we don't try in Arizona or things of that nature when people call us and want to purchase. We work efficiently and effectively down to about 35% relative humidity. We really like it at about 40% relative humidity. At 40% relative humidity and 70 degrees, you'll make about 4.6 gallons of water in a 24-hour period. The T12 has a 7-gallon storage in it. So we have the larger storage, so in case, even in Florida in the winter time, it goes down to 30. We want to make sure that you have water stored in order.
And obviously
to
at
pick up water.
nighttime in the desert, it's going to be much better than the daytime. Clearly.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing. And especially with solar now, you make the capital investment in the product, and you're not paying for the electricity. Then again, at night it goes up, so you could store the electrons in the batteries and then run it at night, and so those are the things that will open up markets.
And Jeff, the unit can. What do you think in a desert-like environment? Keeping it charged, maybe not running it so much in the day, but then turning it on for 12 hours at night. What do you think about that strategy?
Oh, we actually had a client in California that was east of the mountains and by Bakersfield that really had 3 months that we said, listen, you're not going to make much water. And she's like, I want this machine. I'll store the water. I want to make sure I have water security. And that's what she ended up starting to do was during those 3 months, she's like, wow, I'm making a lot of water at night. The humidity levels are going up. So again, it's just like someone calls you up, Paul, and says, how much solar do I need? Well, where you live, how much, you're dealing with environmental, and that's what makes it easy for us because we understand it. It's not a straightforward answer. We have to do some research and we have to see what the earth is giving us before we can tell you what we can produce. So, we will definitely work with anyone and let them know what their conditions are. We have great data online that we can get 30 years of data for temperature and humidity, so we can really let you know exactly what you're going to produce.
Fantastic. Just very quickly, what industries or whom have been your largest customer base, Jeff?
Well, basically NGOs and have been huge. I mean, we're doing a huge 1,000-gallon a day out in Maka, Cameroon. But the oil and gas industry, obviously, they need water in offshore rigs. The health and wellness industry, because we have the purest water and we have the minerals in it. We have all the things that a health and wellness expert would want in their water, which is water in their water, and that's it, and some minerals that you're putting in. So the health and wellness has been huge. Doctors and hospitals have been huge as well, and it's one of the things that we've been working on to try and get some machines to some hospitals in the Ukraine that desperately need it. So we're trying to work with some nonprofits on that.
And I wanted to thank Mark Dodge. He was saying he wants to get us the name of another NGO name to help us in Ukraine. Just to explain there, Jeff and I are hopefully going to be funded by one NGO. We are looking to combine because, where there's no water, there is no power in that situation. And, Russia's been hitting the critical infrastructure of Ukraine. That's why Jeff keeps referring to it, because they've wiped out a huge amount of power generation in the last month, as well as transmission distribution. But at the same time, and what goes under the radar in the news is they've been wiping out the water infrastructure as well consistently over the last 2 years, especially in frontline areas. In the city of Kherson, when the Russians blew up the Novokakhovka Dam, 25% of the city was flooded, and it absolutely overwhelmed the water treatment facilities, and they're not back up and running. So, fresh water is obviously a way to keep people living there. And one of Russia's goals is to depopulate cities and depopulate those areas that they want to take over. They don't care about ruining the scorched earth policy. They have a history with that. So, that's why by combining power and water, you're building the ultimate in resilience for people. And, Jeff, one of the other, well, I know one of your big markets, though, is individuals who want security of water, want to be prepared for natural disasters and the like. So people living in wildfire areas, hurricane zones, tornado zones,
Yep.
they know that they're vulnerable and they can only keep so many. Not everybody wants to keep a bunch of plastic bottles around that eventually go bad. So,
Especially after the testing that has just come out, which we knew about for 10 years, but the microplastics in bottled water, and those microplastics will absolutely block your cell membranes from the water being absorbed. And I just want to say one thing about if you could give me just 2 seconds, Paul. One of the things with disasters is when they happen, everyone rushes to help, and I think you see in the Ukraine sometimes it gets forgotten, or people get involved in the political aspect of it, but people realize these are people that have nothing to do with any political aspect of it, that don't have power and water. They don't have the basic necessities to survive. As people, we should be wanting to help them. I don't care what your political affiliation is. These are people who are trying to live their lives that had their water and their electricity taken out. So, a lot of times the ability, they look at the next disaster. You see the same thing in Maui. It's almost forgotten. Let's remember that there are people there that need this stuff. So I commend you, Paul, on what you and your team have done there, and just continue to do to just help people. That's the bottom line.
it's a lot about resilience. I'd like to talk a little bit. Hogan Carter, great question. Are there any vendors who rent this equipment? I can say honestly, New Use Energy, we're currently developing our rentals mainly in film and television, who I think is a great potential user of this. And but Jeff, in that question, you can maybe answer first, do you have rental? But secondly, in a rental environment, how long does it take to actually have enough water generated so that you can use it? Because you kind of got to maybe set it up in advance. Maybe talk about a rental scenario.
Yeah, a rental scenario is perfect. I mean, you see Sunbelt with all of these generators that are all set up for disasters and stuff like that. So it's very easy. Not you could use those things, put it in a tank, use our ozone purification to keep the water pure, and then when you have a disaster, send everything out full. I mean, this beehive project that footprintproject.org is doing with the school, Audubon Gentili, is exactly on that, where very easy for you just to make water and just store it and have our ozone purification. And then when a disaster hits, send all of our machines out full, and it would continue. But again, it depends on the temperature and humidity. So you'll make a T12 about 4.6 gallons at 40 degrees and 40% relative humidity and 70 degrees. So, that's very easy to determine based upon what the environmental conditions. But we believe a rental, again, they hold all these generators and these trailers, and we're going to showcase and show the world that there's a better way to do this without the intensive carbon footprint that is happening right now.
So, quick question from my good friend Kieran. So helpful, always pointing me in the right directions, Kieran. Do you work with American Red Cross?
Yeah, we have actually. It's interesting. We're going down on the 24th, I believe, with the Cajun Army and the Red Cross in doing some disaster prep and training. Footprint, our team in Louisiana is going down. The Red Cross has had our machines in a lot of their offices in Florida, Palm Beach, Jupiter, and different areas. So we're hoping to expand that. We actually work with the Red Cross in the humanitarian village as well. So the answer is yes, but not as much as we would like to or think that
They're such a
it should.
big organization. That is true. Very quickly, how long can the equipment and filters remain in a storage situation? Will there be any degradation in efficiency over time in storage?
No, you know, the one thing is you don't want to run the water through the filters and then leave the water in there and store them. If you know, you want to store them in a cool area. But you know, if water has not been run through the filters, there's no degradation whatsoever. And the same thing with our equipment. You're not going to want to store it with water in it. You would drain it. Again, we have you know, procedures to do that and to store it.
Um, have you ever considered, we got two questions left and we'll finish it on the hour. Have you considered processing rainwater collections?
Yeah, well, that's, you know, we're adding that. I always say that the water problem is so big, we need all these different technologies. We are actually harvesting rainwater in the project in Maka, Cameroon, and also harvesting rainwater to clean the panels, because you know the panels get dust on them, and so you need to be able to clean those panels to the PV to make them efficient in capturing the sun. So we absolutely integrate that technology in you know, the different projects that we do without question. It's a great technology. Unfortunately, in some areas, some states and governments don't allow you to capture rainwater, which is confusing to me.
So, final question. Is there a minimum level of relative humidity required?
We'll make water no matter what, but as I said before, 30% is really for when you're using electrical power from the municipality and paying for it. 30% relative humidity is really the economical cutoff for being efficient that way.
But
Again,
if you're working off grid and you have the battery, what would be your guy, and you're in a desperate situation, is there a bottom?
there isn't. I mean,
Right.
it'll make it, you know, the same thing like you said at night, even in Vegas where it's 7 to 10, you know, at night it'll go up to 35-40% relative humidity. You have about 8 hours to do that. So, you know, 8 hours, you know, if you're making 4.6, you'll make a gallon and a half in that 8 hours at nighttime. So, you know, for a family, you know, each having a half gallon of pure drinking water, in those situations, you need it. So,
So,
and then you can always store it as well, and you know, keep it with the ozone purification. So,
right. That's right. So thank you very much. Amazing questions. Thank you guys for staying on so long. It's great to see many good friends on there. I hope everybody's learned a lot. I did even. The more we work together in our partnership. You know, Altitude is one of our distributors on the East Coast, but mainly very strong in the Southwest and in Florida, which is a major market. So we cooperate. And then we are their West Coast arm here, and we do. If anybody, you know, Jeff Peters, who I'll be getting in touch with you, will create a nice chain. And any other introductions that anybody would like to make, please feel free to contact Jeff or myself, and we'll always network you into the other organization. So thank you guys and very much, and have a great rest of the day.
thank you.